Welcome to Trackside Northeast, featuring the best of Season 1. Over the past season, we've taken you deep into the roars and revs of Northeast auto racing, from legendary short track drivers to hometown heroes, and unveiling the stories, the speed, and the passion that fuels this region's racing community. So in this special collection, we've been revisiting some of the most unforgettable moments and heart-stopping finishes, and the inspiring tales of drivers, crews, and fans who live and breathe racing. Now, whether it's tracks under the lights or it's the roar of the engines echoing across the stands, these are the moments that have defined our very first season. Strap in, rev your engines, and get ready. This is Trackside Northeast, where every lap has a story.
Cool.
Man.
That was good.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll do it with the cold one, and then I'll take a look at both of them and see whatever one works.
Sounds good. Okay, so you want me to fade it from black?
Yeah, we'll just fade into black, because I think because the best ofs, the first segment has the intro.
Okay.
So maybe I'll talk to Emily and see if she just wants to black it in, have me do this, and then we hit the and then it goes into the because that's already kind of built into the first segment. So
exactly, that makes sense.
All right.
All right, so I'll leave this in one video file for you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, ready? 3, 2. Oh, hold on.
Oh, you good?
I just shocked the. Okay. Oh, shit.
Hold on, my bad.
I pressed the buttons and it turned off. Okay. 3, 2.
Welcome to Trackside Northeast, featuring the best of Season 1. Over the past season, we've taken you deep behind the roars and revs of Northeast auto racing, from legendary short track drivers to hometown heroes, unveiling the stories, the speed, and the passion that fuels this region's racing community. In this special collection, we have been revisiting the most unforgettable moments, heart-stopping finishes, and of course, the inspiring tales of drivers, crews, and fans who live and breathe racing. Whether it's the tracks that are under the lights or the roar of the engines echoing throughout the stands, these are the most unforgettable moments that have defined our first season. Strap in, rev your engines, and get ready. This is Trackside Northeast, where every lap has a story. And back again with Trackside Northeast. I'm your host, Joe Cortese. We have a lot to talk about today, folks. New Hampshire, what a race weekend. A lot of folks showing up for the Modifieds, the Cup Series, Xfinity Series. Channel 12 got a chance to go up there. We had some great coverage, and I'm joined today by Kyle Souza. Kyle, we're back again because we have a big weekend coming up at Seekonk.
Yeah, New Hampshire in the rearview mirror now. NASCAR's only playoff weekend here in New England. But, yeah, we got a big weekend down at Seekonk Speedway coming up. Looks like the weather's turned in our favor, so that's good. As we crown our champions, our 80th season coming to a close this weekend. And all 9 divisions will crown a champion as they run their final races of the year. Not our final event of the year. We've got the Pumpkin Smash coming up at the middle of October, and we've also got the Haunted 100 at the end of the year as kind of the final short track race. But championship time, the year's gone by so fast, and it's already at the end.
I feel like we just had our first get together a couple weeks ago, more like 3 months ago now that you look at it. But no, it was a favorable year weather-wise for the weekends.
You know, I was thinking about that on the ride up here this morning. We talked about this off the air a couple of days before. The weather's been pretty good, and this past week, even a couple of days ago, we were looking at this weekend like, looks like a wash, but knock on wood, right now it's turned our way. But yeah, we've had a pretty good year Mother Nature-wise. Definitely have had worse in the past, so certainly a big deal when it comes to short track racing. It can't rain on the races, and we've had minimal rainouts this year on both Friday and Saturday, so it's about all you can expect for New England weather.
Big difference from last year. Last summer was like, every weekend I'd come into Anchor and I'd be like, oh no, how am I supposed to get people excited when it's supposed to rain all weekend?
Yeah, I feel like last year we had 10 or 12 Saturdays in a row. It rained, even the beginning of this year.
I think it was 17 in total for the whole summer.
It's just crazy, man. But it's been really good. Knock on wood, this weekend will be good. We're going to get a couple events left, and starting to plan season 81 already, looking at next year.
All right, so a lot to get to. So hey, let's go back to New Hampshire a little bit, start there. So had the Wheel and Modifieds. We had the Cup Series over the weekend, Xfinity Series. You got a chance to go up to New Hampshire. How was the atmosphere?
Yeah, the atmosphere was great. I was only up there for a couple hours Saturday morning with the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Of course, the Modified Tour running down here at Seekonk this year as well. So they've been all over the place in New England, even some races down south. But the atmosphere was great, man. For a 9 o'clock race in the morning, I looked up in the crowd from on top of one of the haulers and was really impressed with how many people showed up at 9 a.m. There was a lot of coffee. The line for the shower at the campground was massive when I got there at 7 o'clock.
Always a good sign.
Yeah, people were ready, revving up. People were on their alcoholic beverages already that early in the morning. They were riled up. So
hey, it's New Hampshire, man.
Yeah.
Live for your die, right?
it was a heck of a show, though, coming right down to the end. The Tour always has a great race at Loudon. Reminds me of a Cup race at Daytona or Talladega in the last couple laps because of the excitement and the fire that they have in their eyes when they see the checkered flag. But Tyler Ripcombe had taken that Old Blue to victory lane, the oldest running car in the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour, oldest running family, and their shop is not too far from here
Really?
As well. So cool deal to see them win, and a really cool environment for the NASCAR Wheel Modified Tour to have that many people at 9 a.m. Didn't expect that many. I expected a
9
good
a.m.
crowd, but not that early.
It's too early at that point. I mean, like, you wake up and it's just like, you have no time to, quote unquote, like, pregame or get ready. Make the
Oh, they
sandwiches
made
for the
time.
kids.
Some of
They
them made
somehow
time.
figured
I
it out.
drove up from 5 o'clock in the morning. I got there at 7, and they were already
They were
pregame.
rocking,
So
or just continuing from the night before. So hey, real quick, let's hit Joey Logano. We got a chance. So Kayla Fish and Mel DeSilva, both working here at WPRI, they got a chance to head up there and got a chance to talk to New England's own from Connecticut, Joey Logano. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Connecticut, so Loudon, New Hampshire is the closest track to home. I consider it my home track. There's a lot of memories here. I remember when I was 7, I came here for the first time and watched my first Cup race, and the weather was similar to it as today. It's beautiful out, and just kind of this morning I was watching a modified race with my oldest son, who's 7. And it's just all those memories kind of come back to you, and what it kind of created in my life, right? What motorsports has brought for me. So it's a really special place. A lot of great memories. Hope to do it again. There's Daytona, there's Indy, there's the championship races. Those are all big ones. Right after that's always your home track, no matter where that is. And for me, it's here in New Hampshire. So just because, all the fans are here, they root for the New England guy, which is super cool. But also you have your family here, your friends, and those type of things. So celebrating in victory lane just has a different feeling. You know what I love about up here the most is the fans. I feel like so many times people think NASCAR and they think Southeastern sport. Nobody really knows New England's, like, there's some awesome race fans up here, and you see that even this morning. We're talking, it's 10:30. The modified race started at 9:30 this morning, and there's a ton of fans here watching the race for the modified. So you can imagine the Cup race and the truck race later. It's a great weekend for the New England motorsports fan, and I love seeing that. Right? I wish you raced up here more because I enjoy it so much, but it is neat to see so many people show up. I told my son, we were driving up here yesterday, and I said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna win Sunday. And I said, you grab one claw, I'm gonna grab the other. I said, no one's done that yet. And he's like, he was unsure about that. He's like, I don't know. He's like, is it gonna get me? I'm like, it's not gonna get you. Like, it'll be okay. So it's either that or I chase him around with it. It's one or the other. So.
All right, that's Joey Logano. So at the end, he's talking about, holding the lobster up with his son or chasing him around with it. But he had a lot of great things to say about the New England race fans around here and how many people were up there at the track. I mean, you had the Wheel and Modifieds. It was just one of those great weekends full of action-packed, kind of like what you guys do over at Seekonk every weekend. There's so many different levels and series racing all throughout, but great time to be up in New Hampshire.
Yeah, these people are passionate, the race fans in New England. This is the only real New England race that they get over the course of the year, especially to come in the NASCAR playoffs, the first race of the second round. Logano did pretty good, finishing the top 5. Ryan Blaney advancing to the round of 8. But a lot of good things going on at the National Series level with the NASCAR Cup Series. Very exciting championship battle going on there, the Xfinity Series. And you mentioned with me off the air the Truck Series with some local stars racing in that. Giovanni Ruggieri was in there, ran very well. Almost won one of the stages, was very competitive racing for the lead, finished well. Mike Christopher Jr., a modified standout from Connecticut, made his debut, ran really well. Tyler Tomasi was also in the race, who's run here locally.
Got the call a week before because Frankie Muniz is out.
That's right. Frankie Muniz is out with an injury. So the local flair was good. Cool to see all the people there. You can see there looking at the camera. There was a lot of people in the crowd. And NASCAR playoff weekend. Not going to be in the playoffs next year. They're moving it back up to August. But
I know.
Still, the fans love it. They want to see it continue.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, they raced there twice. Now they only race there once. So the fans are supporting it, which is a good thing.
Yeah, and we need that because we need the fan support and we need to show how big it is around here because we were talking off the air before. It's like, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, there could come a point where NASCAR, pulls it at one point or another. But right now it's here to stay and they'll be moving it next week. But we're going to come back after the break and we're going to get into more of the local racing and what's going on because we have a big weekend here at Seekonk.
Yeah.
Champions will be crowned and we'll take a look at some of the drivers that'll be, the ones to look out for who could take the checkered flag or the win, and then we'll look at some of the guys who can make their way up and maybe steal the spotlight a little bit. So we'll be right back. And we're back here at Trackside Northeast. I believe it's episode 3. I've done about like 4 or 5 of these to start it up, but we're back. We didn't miss much. We had the Wheel and Modified Tour Series cancel over the weekend. We have just too much rain on Saturday, folks. Just way too much rain. But they are back there over at Riverhead Raceway this weekend. They got an 8 p.m. start. And, you know, this Wheel and Modified Tour Series is really interesting this year when you get a chance to look at it. So I'm going to bring you right over here to the standings. Take a look at this. Out of the top 5 drivers, we've had 4 drivers this year make it to victory lane. Only one of them, Craig Lutz, is over here in the top 5 over here. It's pretty interesting to watch. So we have Riverhead this weekend. They're going to be at 8 p.m. start. That's over in New York. Their practice kicks off at around 3:30 to 3:50. Second practice kicks off right after 4. The qualifying is going to be at 6:15. And then you have the Miller Lite Salutes Steve Park 200 at 8 p.m. But it's just an interesting to look at this year when you have a chance to take a look at all the drivers. I mean, Matt Hirschman, who just won over at the Seekonk Raceway a couple weeks ago for that J&R race, he's not even in the top 5 right now, but that belongs to Austin Beers over here, and he is let's see one word to describe him this year. I would just say consistent. I believe he's been in the top 4 just about every race this year, so it seems like that's going to be the way of the road this year is consistency and trying to get those points to get yourself to the next level. But after they go over to Riverhead, they're going to then stop by over here at the Thunder in the Mountains 200. That's going to be June 28th at White Mountain Motor Speedway. They got the No Way Auto Parts 150 at Lancaster. So a lot of races heating up. We just hope that Mother Nature will be able to allow us to get back on the asphalt and hear those loud cars coming through. But coming up in the next segment, we are going to be joined by Brady Kuto, I believe it is. I asked him a couple times what his name pronunciation. We'll get him in here. He's the announcer over at Seekonk. He is 19 years old, folks, and this is one of those people I want to really bring in. I had a chance to talk to Ken and Max Sakem earlier this week. We were trying to get him in. Some things came up, but we may be visiting one of their new garages, give you an inside look at the helmet. But Brady was able to switch some schedules around and get in here, so we're going to be joined by him right after the break. We'll go over the ins and outs of how he got into the world of racing, and he's been doing this for, I believe he said 6 years, but he'll tell us all about his journey to where he is now as an announcer over at Seekonk Speedway, where he wants to go in the future, and we'll get all those questions answered after the break. And we're back here at Trackside Northeast. I'm Joe Cortese. Joining me right now is Brady I had it. Kudo. I had it in the first one. By the way, ties are off. Brady came in, and I'm like, you know what? No ties. We're gonna relax and have a good time on this one. But Brady, first off, you have a little connection here at WPRI that I just learned about yesterday when we were texting.
A little bit. So on my paternal side, Audrey McClellan, one of the hosts of the Road Show, is my cousins. So Audrey's dad and my grandfather are brothers, and I haven't seen her in a little while, so it was actually really nice to like come in and see her all happy and whatever. So it was, yeah.
You know,
it's cool.
folks, everyone always talks about there's always a connection in Rhode Island, some way, somehow, and everything. So
it's kind of weird in a way.
It's a little weird.
It's weird. You know, I really, honestly, now I can't go anywhere without seeing, you know, the somewhere in Swansea, Seekonk, Barrington. Like I can't go anywhere without.
All right, so 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you're an announcer over at Seekonk. So the first question is, tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got into this. We discussed a little bit in the break room before, but how did you get into where you are now? And was this always a goal for you?
I've wanted to be in this industry for forever. Forever. I guess my first kind of start was playing on like the Xbox, playing like Madden or 2K or something. And talking over, at the time it was like Gus Johnson, I think, who voiced the games, and Nance, talking over them, and kind of like not like doing it on purpose. It was just kind of just doing it, and kind of liked it, like really liked it. So it was one of those, I can, this is pretty cool, and then kind of watching Orsillo and Remy do Red Sox games every night. Remy being a Somerset guy, I'm obviously from the next town over. I'm in Swansea, so it was kind of those, well, he's local, and he can do it. Who says I can't? Kind of that sort of thing. So
that's the right attitude to have for any kids out there right now. If you're listening, 19 years old, his kid's over at Seekonk. He has a whole career ahead of him and everything. But tell me a little bit about how you got to Seekonk. I mean,
Sure.
Obviously you got into it. You wanted to become a broadcaster. You fell in love with it. And another thing we'll hit on is the video games and how that's going to really bring that younger generation into this racing world that we love. But tell me a little bit about how you got over to Seekonk.
Seekonk was started from a family friend who had reached out because knows what I do, and he said, "Hey, you looking for work?" I was like, "Yeah, like we're always looking for work." So yeah, like what's up? And he said, "Well, last I knew, about 2 weeks ago, Seekonk was hiring for a track announcer." Okay. At the time, knew nothing about the sport. Knew it was left turn, tire changes here and there, and that was it. But I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I'm going to see what happens. So went through the audition process, went through the interview process, mixed. I'm like, well, I did the best you can, right? And I think that's all anyone will ask when you do something like that. Just do the best you can. And I was in Joseph Case High School getting ready to go out for track and field practice when I got a call. It's Ed St. Germain. We want to bring you on to do Fridays. And I was like, oh my God.
It's happening.
Wow.
Trial
Yeah.
by
I'm
fire.
in.
Let's go.
Yep. So went home that day, YouTube, NASCAR full race, and just Googled racing terminology to know. Learned what a side draft was, learned what a draft was, learned what 3-wide was, like things that maybe now as racing people were like, well, yeah, like we all know what that is, but not to 16-year-old Brady who had no idea what he was doing. So I think through that, like doing work on your own as we all do, and then not even that, the bigger thing for me learning the most about this sport was people and asking questions and people being willing to just, well, here's what a transmission is. Here's what an engine is. I still don't know a car. Like if you ripped out the guts of a car, I don't know what half of it is.
That's second semester stuff.
Yeah, that's absolutely second semester stuff. But it was more so the case of, hey, we're willing. You're number one. You're good at what you do. I was like, oh, thank you. But we're willing to help you. We're willing to teach you. So kind of that, and then just doing it. That's the biggest thing is just doing it, doing different types of racing, calling different types of cars. We have our Bandoleros, we have our legend cars. Even on Saturday nights, I've filled on a few of those. Our late model division, our pro stock division, our Chez's Auto Body Sport Trucks, just different things that each division is different. So the more that you do it, right, the more you're going to grow and the more you're going to get better at it. And 4 years has absolutely flown by. I know everyone says that,
4 years. Wow.
Time flies when you're having fun. And it's true. Like I started season 4 a few weeks ago and I was like, oh my goodness. Like I just blew my mind. Really blew my mind.
I know. And just going down to the track and just, like you said, the people.
Yeah.
The people that you meet and how you got started. We'll go back to that before we get into the people. But, going into the video games and the video game industry, NASCAR, if you're listening, probably not. But hey, at the same time, you guys gotta update that racing game. I mean, I remember back playing when I was a kid. Just it was so cool. Like updated to the point where you can use the pit crews, the mechanics. I mean, F1 does a great job with their racing game. They just started, and you can really get the ins and outs of the cars. And at the end of the day, you can do it as a beginner, or you can do it as somebody who is a mechanic, who actually works on the cars, makes those adjustments, switches out the tire pressure, and goes with the different field depending upon the speedway. But just talk to me a little bit about when you were a kid and you see it, and now all of a sudden you're actually doing what you did when you started as a kid just playing a video game.
I have moments, and I've not even, I guess in racing, but also just other, for me, like highlights of my career where I'm like, 9-year-old you would be really proud of you right now.
Brady, you got a long, successful career ahead of you. You're on the right track, and you're a lot faster than where I was at this point. So it's good to see some, younger parts of the generation getting into broadcasting, whatever area you want to get into. But you got a long, great career ahead of you. I appreciate you coming in, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Good. I like it as it is, but if they change it, they change it.
Oh, it's competitive. You have to be consistent. You look at Chase Elliott, he has to be consistent to stay in because he hasn't really won anything.
Like 4 races there at the last with like 4 or 6 drivers, so I might be okay with that.
I'd like to go just points as you qualify all throughout the year, and where you end up is where you end up. And you don't have this chasing, following, trying to stay in, and I'm going to wreck you to do this or anything like that. 38 drivers, 38 points, 1 to 38, and that's how you finish.
That's it right there. I mean, there's a lot of folks from the weekend. I mean, you have a different – it's funny because the more people I ask this question on whether or not they like this new playoff format, you find a big difference in it. Like, there are a lot of people who love it, and then there's a lot of the older – like, they are not even older, but the other people who just like, I don't like the fact that it comes down to one single race. You look at every other major sport outside of the NFL and college, or college football specifically. they all have series. It's a series. Even the playoffs, the Yankees Red Sox coming up this week, it's a series. And I just find it hard. And granted, we do have 10 races in the playoffs, but I don't like how it comes down to the one at the end. What's your thoughts on the playoff format? Changes or anything you like about it?
Yeah, I mean, when it started, I didn't like it. I've kind of, acquired a taste for it now because I'm, watching the full round of, from 16 to 12 to 8. But to something we had talked about before, that final race of one, 4 drivers fighting, and you still got 34 other guys that are trying to get a trophy, win a race, I don't know if I like that. I know, NASCAR's had, a big challenge with how do I make the sport appeal to more and more people? How do I engage them throughout the whole season? NFL seems to have such a pattern of, starting it off and ending it big, however. And we kind of start it big, with Daytona and all the new stuff. And then, how do you end it big? So I'm not as big of a fan of that, but I don't dislike it.
I think that, and I think they can make some changes. It took me a while, too, with the stages. When they first brought in the stages, I was a little skeptical of it. I'm like, what's this? But then I realized that it makes it more interesting where it's like you get your win. You get 3 stages of race, so it's like you win stage 1, even if you get wrecked, something like that, you've got points already. It's going through. So it does, I think that helps the system. Now, when it comes to the playoffs, the one race at the end is what gets me because we were talking about it before. It's like, who's to say when it comes down to the Final Four and, you got a couple teammates who are not in it, but they're going to help you out. They're going to block out the Toyotas or they're going to move it. This is where it's just because then you're putting guys who are not in the playoffs directly involved. And it's just, I don't like how it's that one race. Now, if we can mix it up and put maybe 2 or 3 in the Final Four, that I would like to see because I'm going to be interested to see what happens when we get to the round of 4. And if somebody gets, and somebody will, because somebody will wreck. And it's like they worked all their season to get to that one final race with the 4. And they get wrecked running 32nd or 28th when everyone else is behind them and they're technically winning. That's what's going to come down to. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and you mentioned something too, Toyota, Ford. The manufacturers, have a lot of skin in the game.
Yeah, they do.
So
I'm sure Toyota wasn't too happy about
No, right. Think of that this past week. So what happens now? Is it going to be all Toyotas, for the top 4? Is it going to be, will it be diverse with a Ford, a Chevy, and a Toyota and one other one, in there? That's what would make it really exciting to watch. But you're right. There's those unintended consequences, I call it,
That's a good way.
that, where's it going to come from? Like, what's going to go wrong during that race? And it affects strategy, too. I like the stages, as you brought up, because strategy, mental thought process really makes this the sport where someone we know doesn't think it's a sport, if I can just throw that out there. Andy Gresh used to come to me and would not cover it on the radio.
Oh, God.
It is not a sport. Stick and ball is a sport.
We're going to get Andy in here.
Yeah,
I worked
okay,
with Andy
right.
at WEI Sports Radio. We were just talking about this. So I know, Gresh, that's going to be a good little debate. We'll have that.
Yeah,
we'll
so
have
making left-hand turns, he said, is not a sport, but it is. The strategy and the technology that goes into this now, and then the driver has to then do something with it all.
And meanwhile, this driver also has to make a decision. I would love to put Andy Gresh in a car and be like, sit in that 200-degree car with the suit on, driving around for hours. Let me know how many I would give him.
There's an
30.
athlete. That's an athlete. Right.
And it's the G-forces, too. I mean, they all go through training, reaction time. You see it. I mean, one thing that really got brought up was when the F1 series came out on Netflix over there. They started showing, like, the different training exercise they do for reaction. Now, F1's a lot different, quicker reactions, things like this, but NASCAR does similar training. I mean, we brought in Tyler Tomasi as well as Gio. Ruggiero. And Gio was telling me about when they're over at the Toyota development, what they do. They work out. It's like, you don't just work out. They work out so they can last in the car, because how many times do those cooling suits pass? And then it's like these guys are pushing. And Hamlin, too. Got to give him some credit. He was still in the front with those issues. So you're not telling me his arms are hurting after trying to hold on without power steering? Like, there's so many elements, and it's a team sport because the drivers have to compartmentalized. It's like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to win this race. But at the end of the day, your pit crew could lose it or win it for you. And you have to work with them, but also accept it. And, you got the crew chiefs, you got the spotters. There's so many elements that go in. And with all the things that NASCAR has come with technology, it's kind of opened up the playing field to bring in more people, different engineers, I mean, we've always had the aerodynamics and the handling and everything, but it's crazy to think that it's like, it's not just, I mean, we all see the driver, but, it's about a team of 20, I would say, probably around there that all put in to win this race.
It's funny you say that because I asked when I was in New Hampshire last week. I don't know. I think I was around JGR's hauler, and I saw all these people walking around with JGR shirts. And I turned to someone and I go, I wonder how many people really are on the team.
Yeah, like on the car specifically.
On the car that travel, have to be there. It's not just those 20 guys, at the pit box or whatever. There were all these other people with the shirts, and they were running in and out of the hall. I go, that's a business.
Yeah, it is, and it comes down to it. I mean, it could come down to one tire changer. It could come down to the jack man, anyone, or even the fuel guy when they're trying to get it in. And if he pulls it out that half second, that's the difference between you finishing and not. So it's big team effort going through. But yeah, Andy Gresh, if you're watching, we're gonna have to get you in here and have this little battle. That'll be a fun time. So Joe, before I let you go, I wanted to ask you a couple questions. Throughout your years of loving racing, and you see your son working in it. I mean, we just had my dad in here a couple weeks ago with the road show, and he told me he was just like, wow, it's crazy that I used to be down here at the street working down the radio, and he goes, now my son's here working. Like, how's that feel as a father coming in, seeing that your son is taking a love that you had and brought it into his career?
Well, he took the love I had to a whole nother level. I never drove. I never had the intention. He drove something. He wanted to be a part of it, but he learned he wasn't going to be that next Joey Logano, but he kept his name Joey. So if anyone ever asks, I'm Joe, he's Joey.
Okay.
And then he fought to get an internship. He proved himself there through COVID. They brought him in to do some work, and then before you know it, he got the job. And I tell him, it's not a job. When you go to work loving what you're doing, it's not a job.
I know.
And he loves it, and it's inbred in him. But he's a father can't ask for anything more. His mother and I are so appreciative of what NASCAR and the SMI people have done for him. And his career is set on a path now that I don't have to worry about.
Exactly. Hey, you get him out, of the nest, they start flying away, and it's good to go. Last question I have for you is when you were choosing between the wallpaper, the Gordon, and how did that go over with your wife with the color? Because I'm looking at the colors, I'm like, two brightest colors.
Oh yeah, you had the orange, the orange Tony Stewart, and I go, yeah, but he's kind of been a jerk a little bit, and everyone likes this kid Gordon. This kid Gordon's like tearing it up.
He took it like storms.
And it just looked better because I wanted the room to have some blue in it, not orange. But ironically, my son's favorite color since he was born is orange.
Oh.
Where that came from, I have no idea, but he loves his Jeff Gordon Flames blue.
Oh.
As you could see in some of the cars that we had to dress up for him. Yeah, he had flames on all his legend cars.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when I just watched the video the other day of when they first revealed that car, and first with the DuPont, but then when they revealed it was cool to see you get this chance to see those things on social media, from 15 years ago of footage we don't usually see because it was all on a camcorder. It wasn't on a phone where you could just upload it on the internet.
Right.
So things have changed a lot. Hey, Joe, thank you so much for
thank
coming.
you. This is a great show. Great to share it with everyone.
Oh, we're going to have fun, and we're going to get your son in here one day, too, and we're going to have a nice conversation. So, all right, Joe Lembo, everybody. We'll come back in less than 2 minutes and finish up here. We'll let you know what's going on this weekend, what to look out for, and don't forget, we have a big reunion up at Westboro Motor Speedway coming up this Sunday. So we'll talk more about that in less than 2 minutes.